the history of Ghana can be credited with an astute level of tertiary funding than the NDC. No government, and I speak on record, no government, when it comes to tertiary funding. It's the NDC that brought the Getfund.
Yeah, Rollins.
Yeah, but Rollins is NDC. He's our founder. In fact, the Getfund Act at 581 of 2000 was brought by the NDC. And the Getfund ensures that it takes 2.5 national health insurance levy to fund it. At the time, President Kufuor went to Kumupreko. People died.
So you funded to Getfund.
We will fund a part of it with Getfund. And let me explain. This year, Getfund allocation is 3.93 billion. We are only going to take 10% from Getfund.
So that's about 300 million.
People, the argument is that, hey, that one will affect Getfund. No. Getfund, there's a formula for disbursing Getfund. There are 6 categories in the disbursement of Getfund, the formula. 6 sections. The first one is for debt service. Do you know that President Kufuor has sent Getfund, or he has sent it to for debt, to service debt. So there are 7 categories. So the debt one, President will honor the debt. So you take the debt portion from it. We will not reduce. Then it will have how many categories? 6. There are 7, so it will have 6. So you spread the 10% on the 6 levels. The 6 levels are tertiary education, second cycle education, basic education, and others. And then also members of parliament share. So when you divide the 10% across the remaining 6, it will be 1.66%. All you do is that you reduce each section's funding by just 1.6%.
No, so my question to you is that reducing that section, the NDC is also promising to abolish the double track. I'm coming. The reason why you have the double track is lack of infrastructure at our various school levels.
Yeah.
We know the foremost funding source for building this infrastructure in schools is the Getfund.
Yeah.
So if you are going to reduce expenditure in these percentage items to fund your no academic policy for tertiary students, you'll be affecting infrastructure in the senior.
No, you will not be affecting infrastructure. Let me give you something that the MPP spent Getfund money on. Look at the whole 550 million was provided under the distribution formula for 2023 for digitalization of teaching and learning material for STEM.
Doc, I'm coming. You see.
So we will realign.
Doc, I'm coming. You see.
To freeze the funds.
I'm saying that what the MPP has done has been done. The Getfund, as we know, is for expanding infrastructure across our schools at all levels. So if you are reducing the percentage, that will go to second cycle schools
by 1%.
Yes, 1% is also enough.
Already we will realign it. So there are a lot of expenditure from what currently exists. That is really not education focused.
So after the realignment, you say that you take about 10%. That's about 300 million.
No, that is the 10% is if you're using the existing as it is.
Okay, so when you do the realignment, how much percent are you coming to?
No, get me right. The 10% will be if we are using the existing numbers. Yes, when we have not even done any realignment.
Yeah, I get you. I'm saying that after the realignment,
after we can only know the realignment when Parliament has approved the formula.
Okay, so Getfund is the only.
No.
Okay.
So Getfund will give us 10% of Getfund from each of the 6. Will give us 393 billion.
Okay.
The second source.
393 million.
Sorry. The second source is we will realign and freeze funds from the Office of Government Machinery budget.
So meaning you reduce presidential staffers. You reduce funding to Ghana AIDS Commission.
No, let me explain. That is where people are not getting it. Do you know that in 2022 or so, Office of Government Machinery budget was 4 billion? Are you aware?
But you also know the agencies under the office.
Yeah, I know them. I'm going to go there. They were 4 billion. When the IMF came to whip the President Kufuor and Dr. Baumia this year, they've not even repented. 2.07 billion. There are 26 budget line items under the Office of Government Machinery. So I do HIV research. The budget even for the HIV is even small. So what are you going to do? What you do is that those specific agencies under the Office of Government Machinery, about 4 of them that we have identified, that's why you don't touch them, right? Then you are left with 22 budget line items. For instance, Scholarship Secretariat has been allocated 300 million under this budget. 300 million. And they are sharing it for the chairman of MPP, National Chairman's Children for Scholarship, to go and do scholarship outside. President Akufo-Addo, him alone, his office budget allocation is 212 million with the budget line 0010101 in the budget. This year budget that they read. So what you do is that you take only 15% of that. 2.07. That will give you 305 million.
Okay, so with the funding,
that gives you 700 plus million.
So with the funding, you are saying that you go to Getfund per the normal.
The normal,
we know.
The normal, using the normal statistical.
Yes, so there's 10% money, it's about 300 and something million.
93 million.
Then you take 15%, reduce the expenditure of government by 15% and use it. So these are the two sources of funds.
We are going to bring in additional stream sources by way of legislation, because to create designated fund, you know that we have committed ourselves to create a designated fund for the free SHS. We will do that. And so for NDC, when it comes to tertiary fund, and I told you that, because in 2011 we brought the student loan trust fund.
No, I get you. I just want to get, so you're saying that for now
the basic
the two main sources before the legislation comes is using expenditure from reducing the activities of government machinery and also through Getfund.
And that will that alone funds it.
Now because of